Hello, dear friends. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever way you're watching this, whatever time, anywhere in the world. Welcome to another study of the book Courage by several spirit authors through the mediumship of Francisco Cândido Xavier. And today we have chapter 24 of the book that is titled Pray and Pay Attention. Oh, excuse me. Pray and pay attention. And this message is by the Spirit Emmanuel. Let's see what he has to say to us today. Quote, you have prayed and asked. Now calm yourself and be serene so that you may receive the answers from divine providence. Do not expect dramatic demonstrations for you to be sure about the indications from the Almighty. Just like the sun, which does not need to be physically present on the earth to give life to a plant, as it can be reached by its rays, God has millions of messengers whom perform his sublime plans. Therefore, pray and ask. After that, pay attention. Something will come by via someone or via something giving you, basically, the information or advices that you have requested. In many circumstances, the advice, a guiding phrase, or blessing word will reach your soul in a conversation with a friend, in a page of a book, in a small advertisement, or even on a simple sign on the street. More than this, very often the answers of the Lord to your needs and requests search for you in your sentiments, taking the pathway from your brain to the heart and vice versa. God will always answer. It may be through the signs on the road, through your religious faith, in a dialogue with someone to whom you trust, through written words, through inarticulate messages from nature, through emotions that are in your soul, or from unexpected ideas that come to your thought. Hence, inviting your spirit to the observance of the eternal goodness. Jesus, the divine messenger, by excellence, guided us to search for the supreme love when he taught us, quote, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And by emphasizing the problem of attention, he recommended us to search for a peaceful place for the service of prayer. He just as he did to commune with the infinite wisdom. Let us remember the divine master and let us be sure that God is constantly listening to our requests. However, it is important to make silence in our inner world, forgetting about demands and desires. Not only to listen to God's reply, but also to accept them, recognizing that the Almighty answers are always in our favor, although sometimes, in the spur of the moment, it seems to be against us. Unquote. God's reply. Little typo there. Pray and pay attention. Who are we to have any sublime comments in comparison to what Emmanuel can say? Well, let's revisit a few points of this message. And first and foremost, ask ourselves, what in here is for me today to use? Because more likely than not, the mentors chose this message to come at a specific date, a specific week when you are watching this, so that we can say, oh, this is for me. This part is right on point. Question number 1. Have you prayed today? Many of us don't. So let's be honest. Just you and I. Nobody needs to know, right? Our conscience knows, but have we prayed today? We say we're supposed to pray in the morning, thank God for returning to the physical realm, from the physical realm to the earth. Excuse me. Pray every morning, returning from the spiritual realm to the physical realm, right? When you sleep, you're detached. And then we pray at least at night, thanking God for the day and for everything, reflecting and asking the good mentors, the good spirits to take us to the spiritual realm for treatment, for service, for study. And then we can pray. We can pray every time we reach a destination safely. We can pray while we drive. We can pray before eating to thank um, for the food we have, for the health we have. Well, if we were enumerating all our blessings, we would pray 24/7. But let's say we prayed, and the first paragraph says, you have prayed and asked. So what did we ask? Where are the things in our hearts? Because God knows what's in your heart that you need, what's in my heart that I need, but it's a sign, a practice of self-awareness and humility to say, God, I'm suffering with X. I would like to have Y. Please give me W, right? So it's for us. We pray for us. We don't pray for God. We pray for us. We prayed and we asked. And then Emmanuel says, now calm yourself and be serene so you may receive the answers from divine providence. Because if we are in the automatic mode of busyness, of the society of being busy, being overstimulated, dopamination, everything's trying to grab our attention. So if we pray, we need to zip it. That's why it's important to practice prayer, practice meditation, so we can develop that muscle. Then we pray, we ask, and then we take a moment to be comfortable with being slower pace, a few seconds of silence. So we are practicing now. I'm making a conservative effort to give you those pauses so you can be used to it, so it's not uncomfortable. So you're breathing in and out. You have time to catch yourself saying before you say something that you're gonna regret, before giving advice that we didn't ask, before saying something that is none of our business. But silence is so uncomfortable because we're so used to the overstimulation that we don't have that practice. So we're practicing here. And how are the answers gonna be? He says, do not expect dramatic demonstrations for you to be sure about the indications from the Almighty. So yes, of course, it would be really nice if we prayed and then Jesus materializes and tells us what to do, right? That's not how it is. So we pray and then we receive the answers. Sometimes what happens is we're not asking the right thing. So what we get is not what we asked, but it's what we need, as I say in the last paragraph. So who gives us the answer? God himself? No, because God's not a person, right? He says, just like the sun, which does not need to be physically present on the earth, and the sun is not, to give life to a plant, as it can be reached by its rays, right? The plants get the rays of light, convert energy into um, sunlight energy into chemical energy in the chemical bonds of glucose, releases O2, uses our CO2, we breathe O2 and give us life. God has millions of messengers who perform his sublime plans. So there are millions of them. Goodness reigns in the universe, friends. We are the ones immersed in darkness, but goodness is everywhere. So when we pray, we connect with one of those emissaries, one of those messengers. Therefore, pray and ask. After that, pay attention. Something will come to you, he says, via someone or something giving you information that we advise. And what are those things? Guiding phrase, a blessing word will reach you your soul in a conversation with a friend, a page in a book, and a small advertisement, or a simple sign on the street. More than this, very often the answers of the Lord to your needs and requests search for you in your sentiments, taking the pathway from the brain to the heart. So, how do you feel? How is the coronary chakra doing? How is the heart space? Are we agitated? Are we sad? Are we dull? Are we resentful? Can we forgive? That's important to work on our feelings, our emotions, to work with a psychologist if you have an issue with a psychiatrist, to take care of the physical body with medicine, to have a life that is full, because you're multi-millenary soul, you're multi-modal, you're multi-layered. There's only one answer. You need to nourish your souls as we are doing here at Cardiac Radio, but there's also many more. Important, friends. If you pray and you ask, God will always answer. That's a quote. God will always answer. Through the signs of the roads, through your religious faith and a dialogue with someone, through written words, inarticulate messages from nature. So, one example here, where I live in Virginia, is cold. So, if you go and see the sunset and the sunrise, the most spectacular things you see in the winter, the shades, the colors, you see the planets. The first thing to appear in the night sky are the planets, right? Because they're brighter than the stars. The stars are so far away. When you stop to pray and meditate, as Jesus did many times, as we see reported in the many books by Chico Xavier and in the Gospels, the New Testament, if you watch a river, so Richmond has a beautiful river called the James River. You may have heard of the James River as Jamestown settlement in the history of the formation of America, the United States, which is about an hour from where I am. And if you go to the parks that we have around the river and you just stop to look at the water, some days it's calm, some days it's more agitated, sometimes there's a lot of water, sometimes not so much. And the birds are there, the nature is there, and they're all this cycle of life that tells you, even if today I'm suffering, it's temporary. It shall pass. Through emotions that are in your soul or from unexpected ideas, sometimes we receive inspiration from our mentors, unexpected ideas that come to our thought, hence inviting your spirit to the observance of the eternal goodness. So, how are we in terms of praying and asking? Because a lot of us pray and ask all the time. We ask more than we pray, but pray and ask, because one of the components of prayer is asking. So, it's adoring God, asking and thanking God, right? So, sometimes we ask, and we'll stop to listen. What the answer may be, we just on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And Jesus taught us. What did he tell us? Our Father prayer, right? Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it in heaven. So he recommended that we pray. And this, you can read more about prayer in the Gospel according to Spiritism, the last two chapters, 27 and 28, where there is a beautiful explanation, exhortation about our Father's prayer. And last but not least, Emmanuel says, let us remember the Divine Master, and let us be sure that God is constantly listening to our requests. You are not alone. We are together. God is with you. Your mentor is with you. And they will be just waiting for us to attune. And prayer helps you attune with your mentor. However, it's important to make silence in our inner world, because I can be here, composed, looking, silence, but I'm thinking, what is for dinner? How I'm going to do? What's my car? My dinner? What I'm going to buy? What's the Christmas and the gift? And I'm not silent inside. And that's when my meditation may be helpful, the technique. Just stop to breathe. You have an inbuilt system with your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, most specifically parasympathetic nervous system, that can calm you down. It can stimulate your vagus nerve, and then you slow your blood pressure, you lower your heart rate, your more mind, you slow your respirations, you have time to think and hear your own thoughts. Because if you're always in the busy mode, we won't be able to have this inner silence. Forgetting about demands and desires. Not only to listen to God's reply, but also to accept them. Sometimes we, like I said, we're given what we need. Recognizing that the Almighty answers are always in our favor. Although sometimes in the spur of the moment it seems to be against us. So how are we praying? How often are we praying? What are we asking? Are we asking for the right things? And after we ask, are we coming down to be able to listen and hear God's reply? And if you look back when we were younger and we pray for things and they did not come, and today you say, thank God, because that led me to a different path. So it's a very mindful way of us thinking about prayer, requests, and asks in a world that does not leave much for us to have quiet moments and peaceful moments of inner search, connection with the divine, nourishing the cells of our physical and spiritual bodies, not only with physical nourishment, but also spiritual nourishment. And of course, as I mentioned, we are multidimensional, so we care for the body, the soul, the spirit, the emotions, the relationships, so on and so forth. Dear friends, what a blessing to be with you today, studying the book Courage. God willing, I'll return. Of course, as always, God's is granting us this beautiful opportunity to be together. So hopefully next week I'll be back with you. Until then, stay well, stay safe. May you have a blessed week. Bye-bye.